what else you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're either gonna write them a ticket, or,
I would like planning though to look at maybe capping, maybe just look at the residential agricultural businesses that we allow and see if they fit.
yeah, and if trucking is becoming an issue, then maybe we need to make that not a residential business and make it a conditional use. So that you
Yeah.
can control
Or
those
something like
conditions
that.
of when they come and go and the impacts that folks are complaining about.
Yeah, and again, I agree, we need to let people do what they want with their property. I support that all the way. But when it starts to affect others, that is an issue.
It is.
Well, then it becomes an issue of whether the guy's courteous about the way he operates his equipment.
Yeah, oh, and all of that,
Take
sure.
Tom Ingles. I mean, he rolls out of there every morning at 5 o'clock. But you don't hear him and you don't park.
Yeah, and so that's fine.
And he idles out. Idle out.
Yeah,
You'll be pleasantly surprised that I received a complaint on your truck this week.
My truck,
Yes, sir.
I complain about that truck too.
That's true. Before you get down the road. And that's what I'm saying. Some people are just hypersensitive. Personally, I live across from a fleet of 157
Yeah.
trucks that go all night long. Beep, beep, beep. They're loading up salt in and out. And I'm sure everybody really likes the roads not being slick, so guess what? I live with that.
and I'm like you, Eric, I'm actually fine with it. But I have had lots of people, I say 10 maybe,
Yeah.
come to me and say, hey, we're looking industrial.
Yeah, yeah, and I've had probably 5, but I can also tell you on the other side of that 5, you send out that letter, you're gonna have about 45 people show up
That's right. Yeah.
that are currently business licensed.
Yeah.
You're not gonna keep everybody happy.
No,
There's no way you're gonna keep everyone happy.
you can't shoot us down. We have a goal of keeping everybody happy.
It ain't.
And that's our goal.
Because
And
like
don't
John
take
says,
away
if
the
it doesn't, if it affects somebody else, everything everybody does affect somebody else.
It does, if you
So
let
no
it.
matter what, it affects you.
So would it be reasonable to ask planning to just maybe review the residential, the RA zone, business? How would I word
It would
that?
just, it would just be a use, we'd be looking at uses for residential business.
Uses for residential business in RA5.
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah, I guess
indicating
you say
if
that.
we've had some problems, or we have something that, making that a conditional use within there. Because
Yeah.
you can, conditional uses are hard because you're back looking at conditions all the time. But if that's the way that you can regulate, what's being, if there's something that's offending.
Yeah.
I really don't want to hear about somebody complaining about somebody have to run their combine at night.
You would be surprised how many times the Heber City Police show up when I'm out dealing with
It's
them.
a
Exactly.
farming community.
Exactly.
need to idle them.
If I could get you to shoot across there, I wouldn't have no problem.
Yeah, you won't get me in trouble either.
Yeah, Heber City is really, because on those zones that we border up against Heber City, those people are moving in from other areas. All of a sudden, there's a tractor over there running at night.
So,
They're pretty angry about
They
it.
are.
Well, I think a lot of the nuisance stuff is coming outside the city. We got a pile of stone over there, Douglas stone that they're chipping on, and the dust is just flying. And anywhere I've ever been, they need to put water on that. But you can get up on this east bench on a picnic or a hike, and in the afternoon, look over there, and this whole side of the valley is loaded up with dust and dirt, and it's all coming out of this one big pile they've created. Yes, the county put a dump station in down there, and it's got all the parking, and then we've got the gravel pit that we contend with. We've had these big trucks that are rolling on Highway 40, that's next to Stephanie, and she's complained about it. Well, that's not 1 or 2 trucks. There was as many as 8 or 9 trucks being parked over there.
Yeah, there was a,
Well, if you're living next to that and all of them fire up all at once and they're not idling, I mean, your kitchen could look like you just smoked a ham in there. But a lot of this is coming from outside of the town itself.
Yep. Including that dust pile you just talked about.
Didn't we have a gravel pit by the airport too that was in our town that wasn't supposed to be, not a gravel pit, but a grinding pit.
Where was it done? Where the airport?
It used to be a dump
The city
site.
dump used to be
But
there.
wasn't there some complaints about a guy making gravel down there?
Yep, it's exactly what Delta Stone's doing right now.
Yeah. What did we do on that? Did we
It
just-
wasn't in our town,
So we can't do anything?
nothing we could do. Yeah,
Call EPA.
well, the county refuses really to act on anything that will affect them with their gravel pit, so it's hard to get them off of dead center on any of the trucking, gravel operations, because of anything that they pass, they turn it right onto them. So the rehabilitation you'll see is not on there, there's several things that they just don't, that's required at the state that the county won't whack
When
on.
the public health is a concern, it will override county. It's got to some.
Guess where they're prosecuted? County.
County.
If they write you up on a state statute, you're prosecuted with the county. You have to go one step higher to federal to go solve it. Don't get depressed, Kim, I need you, but.
I'm actually just trying
Okay, all right, I love that, I love that.
See if they put a sprayer or something.
It's tough, it's hard, it is.
Ask in a nice way.
It is. I've sat in, before we became incorporated, I sat on the planning commission for the township. We had a certain individual that came in, we gave him a business license, they did their whole thing, he had to landscape within 6 months. Nothing happened, 6 months went by, a year went by, so it's time to take action, we need to pull his license. I went and talked to the county attorney, looked right at me, he says, I prosecute who the county manager tells me to prosecute, period. I says, well, you won't catch me trying to enforce your codes. So that business is still in business, it's now been annexed into Heber City. But when it's that kind of a system,
Yeah.
and that's basically where we sit. If we call the sheriff and have him come out to issue the ticket, he will issue the ticket. And then our lawyer has to go in and prosecute them. That's where it is.
My neighbor's not even complaining about my fence anymore. He likes the fence. He told me don't change it. Leave it alone.
So yeah, our system's flawed, but it's better than some of the other systems. So,
Eric, what's an update on that addition? It's still there.
it is still there. Ryan, have you heard anything? Have they come in for a permit?
No,
Okay, so we've issued the stop work order and nothing further has happened on it.
I haven't seen any buildings, they did stop.
They did
From what I
stop.
could tell.
Wait till spring.
Well, he was supposed to come in and get a permit and he hasn't done that, which I think he can get a permit for
This is
that.
the one that-
Yeah, how would you get a building permit for that?
Well, he'll apply for one and then it'll be turned down and then,
I don't know either, but I can't tell somebody they can't have a permit, so I gave them the form and told them to, here are the rules, come back with a permit.
Sure, yeah.
I suspect the reason we haven't seen it is he read the rules and figured out there's no way to win, there's no way to get a permit, but.
So is our plan to just let things sit?
no, now what we'll do at that point is we'll issue him a letter and then we'll issue the property owner
To take it down?
to take it down, remove it.
When will those letters be issued? After the winter?
As soon as you indicate that's what you want us to do.
Oh,
I love to say, the council told me,
okay. Yeah, I know.
not just Eric out there.
Are those those are the only two complaints, Eric?
Yes, I've only had, well, I get complaints all the time, but I don't have written complaints, and that's what initiates me to go out and inspect, so.
Yep.
Those are the only two complaints that I've had in writing, so.
So will you send a letter to Mary then?
If that's what you want me to do. I think we do need to respond.
Yeah, just so she knows, look at it.
Yeah.
John, that's an excellent point, if I may make a comment.
Yeah.
I think if we were interested in that, we would have let Arizona guy, I forget his name, on the mountain come in and take us all over and tell us what the neighborhood was gonna be like. I think that's an excellent point,
Yeah.
because this easily could be just like Park City right now, if we would have let him prevail.
Yeah. We don't want a Park City. why our first mayor was
And a lot of times I like to ask people, why did you move here? Because really, why did you move here?
Yeah.
Not only are we agricultural, but we also are what we are beyond agricultural. And a lot of people are here, not just for the agricultural, but for what was said back here. And I agree with that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and that sentiment runs through the town. I mean, if you're in the council, most of that. Well, we all feel it.
Yeah, we agree.
So,
What was that guy's name?
matter of fact, we just had an election and nobody ran.
Yeah, darn it.
But if you read this letter, and I don't know if you're welcome to or not, but this lady from Park City isn't saying, I want to have Park City here. She's saying, I moved here because it's beautiful, and I want to keep it beautiful, and I want this nice scenery. And my neighbor's got all this equipment there. That's what she's saying. So whether you agree with that or not, I don't see that she's asking us to bring in a bunch of new code or anything.
Well,
And
Eric said it, I think, really correctly, is that Bill of Rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And if somebody considers equipment to be vital to their happiness, boy, you know, my fist ends at the beginning of your nose. And if you like equipment and I don't, I think you're exactly on the money, Eric. Thank you.
Well, that's what the Bill of Rights is, so that's built for those against us, so we can't do that.
Yeah.
And so, matter of fact, if you go to that training, that's what they'll tell you.
I
You
know.
are now what the Bill of Rights was written for. To
John,
protect the
I
people.
don't think that everybody's in agreement that equipment is bad. There are a lot of people that agree that, but there are some people that agree that smelling cow manure is bad. And most of us out here just love that smell.
I get complaints on that all the time.
Really?
I do.
it comes from Heber City.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's great to be out in the outdoors and, you know,
You know, I can't potty train them, I've tried, they won't.
I had 24 turkeys walking across my front walkway today. And as I went out, I slipped and almost went on my tail. But I love those turkeys and I wouldn't do anything to have those turkeys, you know, not here. And there's a lot of that, I think, that goes with this whole area, not just residential agricultural, but I think the other things that are involved in Daniels too, that we cannot say it's only residential and agricultural. We have to look at it and say it's the whole entire package. A lot of people, my neighbors from down in the city when I lived down there, if those turkeys were walking across their lawn and leaving slippery spots, they'd just go completely ape about that. Well, there's a lot of things like that. It's just pick and choose your little individual battles.
Yeah.
How do they taste, Tom?
Well, I haven't actually gone down there and gone like this, but, oh,
It tastes like shit.
And I personally think Eric's tractor is sexy.
There you go.
And his
Maybe you think
backhoe.
was that? Oh, yeah.
As long as she thinks
We're
so, I'm in
the
there.
deer in our yard.
Well,
So, but I will do whatever,
neighbors complain
whatever
that the
the,
deer come up and eat their flowers.
you know,
Well, I'd make, I don't know if I need to make a motion or whatever, but I'd make a motion that planning send Mary a letter and say basically what you said, they're in compliance. And I'd also suggest that planning look at the businesses in RA, in
Yeah.
residential zoning.
okay, and we do have that on the agenda, the continued item
Oh, good,
about industrial uses in RA zone.
great.
And so, because you know, what we got was why is the town licensing these uses?
Yeah,
And so that was what we got back in the feed there, so
yeah, okay,
we're gonna try and figure out why, and then we'll send you a recommendation,
great, fantastic.
so. All right, so when you say planning, you mean Eric? Is that what you said, Joe?
Pretty much, but I tried to soften it a little.
My New Year's resolution is to delegate, so it's not working out. Okay, so is there any other questions on that list? We just have all those items going on. We do have some other ones. Lynn's included a copy in your packets, I believe, of the permits that are out.
Oh, that should be here somewhere. Let's see that.
So those are all, that's all of our permits that are active. That information is also on the website. So you're able, everybody, if you see a neighbor building and you don't think they have a permit, they're able to go on the website and look and see if there's a permit issue for that.
Well, it's huge, isn't it?
It is.
This list.
We've been busy. We have been busy in the town. We've got a lot going on.
Are there any issues with any of them?
There's always issues with every one of them.
But major,
No, we work through
Great.
them. We've been able to
Good
work
deal.
through everything. We haven't, even the weed plan that we come up with just off the shotgun and did the driveway get moved?
I think they got stopped by winter,
Did they?
so we haven't issued the CO yet.
Okay.
We have another one that's ready for CO though.
So we have, there's some driveway issues over at Big Hollow. Looked like the driveway was built on somebody else's property. Lot line adjustment doesn't seem to be the remedy. So they're looking at removing that driveway and moving that over on their own property.
are they?
So we have just some issues like that that come up that luckily Ryan jumps in the middle of.
Well, thanks for all you guys do.
Hey, did you have that? John, I think you was included in that list, John Blotter, that, from the state with the noxious weed.
Yeah.
You should be aware of this since you are ultimately responsible. These are the water sample from Stonehaven and Daniel. So you have both of those. Thank you, Lynn, for sending those. Those are yours. So you don't go to jail for bad water. We have a good water report.
Oh, this is a good water report?
That's your good water report, satisfactory. And then this is just, it kind of in the crossover with it, it printed weird because it's not in form with the conversion to Word. But I noticed that Lynn had included you on that list.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you had a chance to look at that and notice that the town will incur significant costs with the addition of the weed list that they've added.
I didn't notice that actually. So they added weeds?
They've added weeds to the noxious weed list for the state of Utah, which is just handed right down. Property within the state of Utah. They're expecting a huge impact on municipalities and property owners because of the new. Matter of fact, if you look on the bulletin board when you leave here, the new weed list is posted there, and it's grown quite a bit. And they've reclassified all the weeds. There's now class 1, 2, and 3. And so there's eradication, there's containment, and then there's just the fighting of the weed. And morning glory is on the list now. So,
As a class 1, 2, or 3?
class 3.
So try to get rid of it basically. is all.
Yeah, you have to do something with it.
What about plantain?
Plantain is not on the list. However, sulfur cinquefoil is now in the county. So be aware of that one. It's here in the county.
The seed here is planting, I dare you.
Plantain's a tough one. That's a tough one. It is. Okay, so I just wanted you to be aware of that. I think that was all we had in planning report, because did you have that copy of, did you get that? Did you have that list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what are we gonna do about that, Eric? Well, right here it says cost could be increased in a county from $100,000 to $500,000.
Yes.
So as a town, do we?
The town, we spray all the road right of ways. We have up all up around the water tank. We'll just incur more costs.
Yeah, so do we need to budget for that?
I'm sure we have some in the budget. But yeah, we'll incur more costs, so that's something we'll definitely have to look at.
Okay.
I think we should, it's basically just making you aware of what they've done at the state level. There was a lot of things in there. I don't know if you read that whole thing, John, or not.
I didn't read the whole thing, but I went over it.
There was, I mean, they really did hit us pretty hard with a whole bunch of things that are gonna affect. I didn't read that, huh?
I wasn't opposed to I think it's good.
Well, they even regulated horses and how to use manure, and it's quite intelligent. Horse racing, land industry, the governor, disease and health, human services, child and family services. These are all new rules that the state has passed. And so they send this email out and try and make us aware of the new rules that are in effect from the state that by default we have to follow. So it's big. School and trust lands and motor carrier. Tow truck operations now have to be licensed with the state of Utah. And so they're regulating how much they can charge for the predatory tow trucks. That was an issue we saw a little while ago. The state has stepped in and they're now regulating that by their agency, which just means it costs them more money, so it'll cost us more money to get towed. Anyway, it was quite interesting, I thought. If you can't sleep at night, it's a good reason. Okay. I think that's everything we had. So now we okay? All right.
Can you send me a copy of that, Eric? I got the weed thing, but I don't think I got that whole packet.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I'll send you that link. Yeah, because I just copied it over to Word and printed off like that. I only took the first 8 pages.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and it's 35 pages long.
Yeah.
So I just hit the stuff that I knew would be affecting the town with the weed,
Yeah.
because it's quite a list. Continued discussion on flag lot provisions for the Daniel Code. We continued that in our last meeting. Has there been have you guys had any updates? Have you been a chance to look at that? Is there anything new we need to add to that? If not, I'd entertain a motion to continue.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll continue that. Continued discussion, C, discussion on the 189 corridor from SR 113 to 40. We reported last time that they were making changes with that document. And so you sent me back with some items that we wanted to lock in. They've just stopped communication with that when I brought that up. So I've had no emails, no Mountain Land Association, the government, and UDOT as well. It's just, yeah. So those are the ones that are trying to facilitate this agreement.
Yeah.
And so Charleston really doesn't want to lock in on that intersection like we talked about. We want them to do. So there's some lag there. I did have a chance to go down to the Charleston Planning Commission, had a public hearing regarding Mike Peterson, who has come before us for an application for building a building like that one down there. So I went down to their planning commission and Mike Peterson built what he proposed in this town, and he has now subdivided that. So now he has a business park and a separate, and he is selling the storage unit portion of that, which they've allowed him to do. That actually would constitute an illegal business in the town of Daniel. Because as you remember, we only allowed that because it was in what's the word, Ryan?
The legal non-conforming, or?
No, because it tied in with his business is the reason he
Oh,
built.
yeah, it was an ancillary.
Ancillary. And so he actually did the same thing there, but then he sold half of it and they split that off. So that's why I went, because I knew he was ready to build in the town. And I just wanted to follow.
He's building one of those in this town?
Yeah, that's exactly what he proposes up on the highway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he has preliminary approval, I believe,
Yes.
if it hasn't expired, so.
I thought he
It expired
did
in-
something different. Same idea, but different.
Exactly the same with
Oh,
storage
is it?
units out back, and it's even on a triangle parcel
Oh, okay.
that there he's got, so.
So is that something that could be split?
It not in the town because it would be an illegal use. So I was very interested to find out that Charleston doesn't have setbacks in their commercial zone. There are no setbacks. And so there's just some different things, well, according to their plan. I don't know that though, but I just went down. and Actually gave the planning commission a copy of that 189 agreement because their mayor said he wasn't taking it to them, so I did. Wasn't received real well, but that's okay. It's all right. I'm thick-skinned. Okay, that's enough on that one. I just want to bring you up to date that we did have a meeting on the Highway 40 agreement from Heber City out to, I'm trying to think where we stopped. I think at the Red Barn, Blondie's barn. We stopped there at that point, and then we identified the intersections that would in future be lighted. So would be have a signal, or would be lined up so eventually they would have a signal. So we've identified them and they're moving forward with that agreement. However, Independence, the town of Independence did not attend the meeting, and Jody Hoffman, who is the League of Cities and Towns attorney, works with the League of Cities and Towns, is there. And she did send an email that she wanted to be involved in all those discussions, but they didn't have a representative at the meeting, so. What did you do for your last month? Okay, so that's done with the planning report. That's enough of that. Any questions for me? No, everybody good? Okay, moving on, item number 6, code violations, we kind of hit that. Number 6 in the planning, is there anything else to add on that? Any public comment on that? No? Okay. We're here every month. Daniel Municipal Water. If you can. What's shaking?
I don't think we have a lot going on right now.
That's awesome, because it's cold.
Yeah. Well, we're not interested in taking anything up this time of year. I mean, so there's not really a lot going on. We spent $800, which I think I brought up last month, with the master meter company, where we needed the software update and things.
You get those, Ken?
Is that installed and working out?
Pardon
Is
me?
that installed and working out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it had a few glitches, but it's,
Yeah.
I don't know if you see those water test report or not.
every once in a while I see him compared, not always.
Okay.
Did he have one that failed?
No, we haven't had any fail.
He had some tests, he did them as a, not experimental testing, where we don't have to report it. What do we call that?
Was it at Storm Haven?
Yeah, we decided they were up at Storm Haven, but he submitted them as testing, didn't he? That's what he told me.
I haven't seen anything in the field. Have you?
Yes,
Okay.
and I don't know where it stands. He submitted both Daniel Municipal and Storm Haven
And that's what these two were.
at the same time.
And these both come back satisfactory.
Right. What are those dated, Kim, as far as test date?
You got the November cut?
November 3rd.
On December 1st, he sent them in. And I got a call, I believe that was a Monday, on Thursday morning, as the town, saying that one of our tests were unsatisfactory, and I asked them which one, and he told me Daniel Municipal. And, you know, they're required to tell us immediately,
Right.
so.
Yeah, we have 48 hours to get a
Right.
ticket sample.
So I
Starts
called
the clock.
Gary and told him that. He called the lab back and was told exactly the same thing, a very clear question. Was it Storm Haven or was it Daniel Municipal? Told both of us Daniel. And so he got with Rachel, he had to retest within the 48 hours, took the samples up to Jordanelle. And then I got the written report faxed to me, and it was Storm Haven that was bad, not Daniel. and he was irate, got a hold of Rachel again. Wasn't our fault, but then the 48 hours was well gone.
Yeah, we're pushed
So
up
he
against
told
that
me he
time.
has retested at Storm Haven. I haven't heard anything since. He's taken it back up to Jordanelle. I haven't had any of those results back. No bills have come in.
And so this is right now going on, okay?
Yeah, I don't,
So Rachel Cassidy,
has been informed of,
well, the reason I say that is because we have to issue a boil order if we don't have a clear,
right, and she, you know, they've had that discussion.
The test I saw wasn't that bad. Wasn't boil order worthy. It was just not satisfactory, so.
well, the
It was
boil
actually-
order comes if we haven't retested in 48 hours. That's when that rule comes in.
So Gary did retest, and I know, anyway,
With the wrong system.
he was working, well, no, he retested the right one as soon as he
Was
was
informed.
notified, he tested within 48 hours.
But he felt like that they pulled the pump out of the well or something, and he felt like
That's where it came from.
that may have been where the bad result
So
came.
did we sample at the source, do we know?
Yes, we did. And I believe the resample came back, the source sample was clean. It was the samples at somebody's house that had to be unsatisfactory initially.
Okay, so we should have tested upstream and downstream of where the bad sample was, and source.
And he took 3 samples, I don't know where from, other than one of them was at the source. And the source was clean on the retest.
That's good news.
And then from there, I don't know that all 3 of them, I
Okay.
didn't follow through. We had some theories on where it could have come from and how it could have happened. You know,
Well, I mean, you
sneezing before or after the
can touch
test.
the
is
top
one
of
of
the
them.
bottle and get it. I mean, it's that easy. It's easy to get a bad sample. But I guess my concern is the retesting, that timeline starts and that kicks into some serious.
He's
So,
the waterman, and he's doing it, so I'm kind of out of the loop at this point, just been waiting for
I
anything
think
to
his
come across.
frustration comes in, you know, where he can't get answers that he needs.
And that's a problem, and Rachel's really good. She's probably the best one to talk to up there because she'll actually work with you and tell you what's going on. There's some that aren't so good up there, but Rachel's probably the best one. But I just know that we're brushing up against a timeline when we get a bad sample. So we have to test upstream, downstream, source, the new source rule we have to follow. So there's just some criteria that we have to jump into before they start levying fines on us. One of those is, if you don't get the sample done, you have to issue a boil order. So, and, you know, it's really not the Division of Drinking Water, that's EPA rule, so they're just helping us not get fined. So I'll tell you what, I'll just contact Gary and see where he's at on it. And if I need to go to Rachel, I'll push on through it.
Gary might be coming.
Okay. Maybe we can ask him. I'm a concerned citizen, sounds like every All right, very good. I guess there's no reason to talk about Storm Haven water, is there?